Hi guys, want to talk today about a question that comes up talking to people about improvising, particularly improvising and playing solos or melodies or even just composing on the guitar, and it's how do you unlock the fingerboard? It's a great term. I love it because I remember for years thinking it was like a locked box that I didn't really understand, and I could sort of play some things down here and maybe go 12 frets up and play them again. But there was this whole crazy, scary middle section in here where I didn't know the names of the notes, which is a stumbling block for me. Was a stumbling block for me for a long time. If you don't know the notes, it's how do you find things? But also, learning, as guitarists, we tend to start off with, a pentatonic scale shape. Someone shows us a blues scale. We might learn the major scale, across the neck in a position somewhere, and then, a bunch of riffs. Then you watch someone who's improvising freely, playing ideas all over the fingerboard, and it's either inspiring or frustrating. For me, it was a bit of both. Yeah, so it wasn't until someone introduced me to the concept of unlocking the fingerboard, finding out where notes, names of notes, finding out where the notes are, where things repeat, and really for me, everyone's got their own way, I guess. But for me, it was being comfortable with where the major scale is in all the different places on the neck, and importantly along a string. So that's what today's about. It's the secret formula, I call it. It's it's like an old-fashioned phone number that we used to have memorized in our heads: 221-221. If you commit that to memory, you won't regret it, and it'll help you figure out a lot of things for yourself. So 221-221, that's the major scale formula. It's also sometimes called tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, or whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So two means two semitones. Two semitone, one semitone, two semitones, two. You get the idea. On guitar, a semitone is one fret, and whole tone is two frets. So this relates out really well for guitarists. It's telling us, get your start note and then go up two frets, one fret, two frets, two frets, two frets, one fret. That is a major scale. So let me show you. If I choose this G here on the first fret, first string, third fret, G, and then I have to start from here. So I go up two, two, one, then triple two, 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 one. That's a major scale. If I started here at A flat, you may have never consciously played an A flat major scale, but you find the start note, fourth fret of the E string here, and then two, two, one, triple, two, one. It works all over the guitar, and the idea of this is we're playing on one string, just one string, and that lets us see physical distances between intervals, because sometimes when we're playing our intervals across adjacent strings or strings that are separated apart, it's hard to see the physical relationship because we're crossing over different strings that are tuned differently. But if we stay on string one and we go up to the next note, well, that's a second. In this case, it's a major second. We'll do another video on actual intervals, but here's the next note. So I can see what a third looks like. And I actually like to do this not initially with different fingers. I actually like to do it so I really get the sensation of distance. So let's just do one more. Let's say we're going to use a C note, a C chord. We want to play C major scale. So first fret of the B string, I go up two, two, one, two, 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 one, and backwards. Now this is not, the first and last step. This is the first step, I guess, of trying to really understand the major scale and how it looks along a string. If we know this 221 221 and we know our start note name. We don't actually need to know the names of every note as we go, as long as we stick to that pattern. I'm not advocating that that's the best way to go. I think the best scenario is, you know, 221, 222. You also know the fingerboard, so as you land on each note, you can tell yourself what it is. And I'll do another video. We've done one before about chromatic scale, but we'll talk about learning the names of the notes on the fretboard, because I think it's really important to know your instrument. So when you go to a certain fret, you know that's an F, or you can find every F. Putting myself on the spot. Can you find every E? That's easy for me today. Oh, it's out of tune. But you know what I mean? I'm saying that's another little study in itself, is fretboard knowledge, awareness. But this major scale thing, this is so cool, because once you know that 221, 222 formula, not only can you use it to play any major scale, provided you can find your start note, then even away from the instrument, you can write out the chromatic scale and make any scale you want, and identify the notes of that scale. So it's just it's a template that you overlay over the fingerboard, or you overlay over the chromatic scale, aside from the guitar, and you can actually mathematically work out the notes in every key. And that's such a great thing to do, because you're doing the work yourself. You're not looking it up online and getting someone to tell you what it is, or getting it out of a book. If you actually figure these things out, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but you're trying to own that information. And I really think that if you find this stuff out for yourself, or apply it for yourself, definitely watch videos, read books, get lessons, but you can't have it done for you. You've got to actually do this application, so then it's available when you want it, rather than, oh, I've got that written down somewhere, I've got that on a video. You want it in here and in here. Yeah, do it yourself. 221, 222. Play it up and down on one string. Now, there's a really good book I'm going to do a video on too. That's really good book. It's an incredible book. It can be life-changing for guitarists. It's called The Advancing Guitarist by Mick Goodrick, and he's an incredible educator and improvising musician. But just to it's a lifetime book. You keep coming back to it and just get little bits that you can apply. But he talks early on about playing on one string, and mentioning some of the great soloists that that some of the great electric guitarists, their sound is unique to them, but some of the great phrasing comes from playing along one string rather than sort of rushing through a pattern that suits your fingers. But the melody and the lyricism of playing along one string, and apparently sitar players specialize their melodies along one string. So it's really interesting where the applications are. Initially, playing along one string is an exercise in disadvantage, because it's hard to get from one note to the next if you're going to play anything more than just sequential notes. But you stick with it and get comfortable with what it is to play that scale along one string. And then like in Mick Goodrick's book, he then advocates, after a certain amount of time, till you're sick of it, I guess, then you play on two strings, but only two strings. You're not playing all those familiar box patterns that you might have under your fingers. You're only playing the major scale on two strings. That is another video, I think. But for now, if you can get used to 221, 222, I'm going to do it starting on E, just so I can accompany myself. I'm going to try to do an improv. I don't know how inspiring it'll be, but it's just, if you use an open string, your first move is up 2 frets, 2, 1, triple, 2, 1. So here we go. I'm going to accompany myself playing on one string with a drone. Okay, so I don't know how artistic that was, but you know, it's just an idea of an exercise you could do. You could choose a different open string, right, and drone an open string, and then find somewhere to play the major scale on another string. And yeah, look, just take my word for it. If you really apply this 221 triple 221, there's a lot of advantages. There's a lot of benefits that you're going to get, more than what I've just told you here. But it's really, really worth being all over the major scale, and because then there's all these other things you can do with the major scale, right? You can start on different notes and play modes, or you can tweak it. But if you get the basic form of 221 triple 221 down on one string, you'll be doing yourself a great service and making me a happy guy too. All right, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. Bye, guys.